So what do you see coming down the pike now? And again, you get calls from very high-end organizations all the time trying to get your crystal ball. Like, what are you seeing and hearing? Has ChatGPT changed a lot of people's minds?
Yeah, I think it's had an extraordinary impact. I mean, I don't think there's any other technology I can think of that in such a small amount of time, so rapidly, has really just caught the imagination of the public. And I think what's happened is people have really looked at it and they said, wow, AI is really here. And to some extent, that's true. And yet the other side of that is I think it's also overhyped. A lot of people are looking at GPT-4 or ChatGPT and they're thinking this is the emergence of AGI, right? Human level AI. And I'm personally skeptical of that. I think it's an extraordinarily powerful tool that's going to be used in many, many different ways. But what it amounts to is a system that can write or speak, but it can't really think, and there's a big difference there. And some people do believe that by the time you get to GPT 7 or 8 or 15, that this will evolve into a true thinking system. And maybe that's true, but I think there's a lot more stuff that needs to be put in there. My view on this is that intelligence probably requires manipulating the world in some way. I mean, you think of a human baby, almost from the moment they're born, they begin to reach out and touch things and interact with their environment. And this is how they learn. This is what this is how people achieve what we think of as common sense, right? Which is basically our understanding of the world, the physics of the world, and most of that is unwritten. And yet with these GPT systems, essentially what you're talking about is a system that is trying to become intelligent just by reading, right? That's all it does. These large language models, it assimilates words, right? Written words. And as a result of that, it becomes really powerful at generating written material. But can you become intelligent? Can you really understand the world just by reading?
Well, I tell my kids the answer is yes, but
in terms of common sense, we make a lot of assumptions about what we understand. It's not, otherwise every book would be 10,000 pages long if you had to explain everything in detail, right? We make a lot of assumptions in terms of common sense, right? And I don't know how ChatGPT can pick that up and how it can really build a true model of the world and become intelligent.
Also, AGI, which you referred to, is artificial general intelligence, where you have a thinking machine. And I agree with you that this thing may not actually be sentient in that way, but I also think that it's not going to make a difference for a lot of practical purposes, where if it can write a press release or an investment analysis or a newspaper article in seconds, or a college paper. I mean, like what the heck does that mean?
I think that's exactly right. And that's a point I've been trying to make. I've tried many times to make for a long time, is that in terms of automating many jobs, probably most jobs, you don't need human level intelligence, right?
Nope.
Because most people are not drawing on general human level intelligence in most of what they do. Most people are doing predictable routine things that doesn't really require human level intelligence. Some aspects of their jobs do, but again, what we're going to see is all the routine stuff is going to get automated, and the only thing that's going to be left is that stuff that really does require human level intelligence, and that's going to result in fewer jobs. And that also, I think, explains why progress in some areas, like, for example, self-driving cars, has not been as rapid as everyone predicted. And I think part of the reason that it turns out that driving a car in, say, New York City in traffic with pedestrians and bicyclists and all of that, it probably does require something at least pretty close to human level intelligence in order to do that, to deal with that kind of a environment that is so unpredictable. And that's why the ironic thing is that, the taxi driver isn't yet threatened, but the consultant at Bain or McKinsey that, has a Harvard MBA degree might be threatened, right?
Hey YouTube, glad you're enjoying the podcast. If you really like it, hit subscribe, and then YouTube will notify you every time we have a bang up new guest. Thank you.